Hi, I'm Dan, and this is my wife Bree, along with our two dogs, Penny and Bella. For the last 12 years, we have traveled the west coast of the USA and the north and the south islands of New Zealand. We have found ourselves after 19 moves here in South Lake Tahoe, where we have bought a home, and we feel very fortunate to be here. Please come along and enjoy our adventures. Welcome to Tahoe Mountain Life. All right, Bree, so we kind of had unfortunate findings this past fall, and I know you kind of wanted to tell your story a little bit, so.
And it was a meningioma.
When's your surgery?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Check-ins at 5 a.m. And while I know I'm in really good hands, I'm really, really nervous, and definitely never had getting brain surgery on my bucket list to do. I'm sure they'll have a good time with Grandpa, but I'll miss them because I love seeing them every day.
You got this, Bree. I know you do.
I'm hoping that with this, it may just comfort one other person out there.
All right, Bree, so we kind of had unfortunate findings this past fall, and I know you kind of wanted to tell your story a little bit, so do you want to tell everyone kind of what's been going on?
Yeah, and the main reason that I wanted to tell this was just that if there was anybody else that's in a similar situation, I found it a little bit comforting to look and see what was out there as far as other people who went through something similar. So with it, yeah, I'm hoping that with this, it may just comfort one other person out there. Okay, so this fall was a bit of a tough one. Not only had I gotten my flu injection into my shoulder joint accidentally, but they put it in the wrong spot and caused a lot of issues. When I went to go get my shoulder MRI, they actually ended up doing a brain MRI at the same time. The reason for that was that I had started to have vision issues. So the vision issues that started in March of 2023 were a little bit odd. It was hard to describe. Basically, things were really hard to focus on, whether it was close up or the distance. And I was really struggling at different points where I felt like it was hard to drive or hard to do my work or just even hard to read a book. So then I proceeded to go see literally 3 different optometrists. One first to make sure that there was nothing with the retina, and they said it was fine. Then my regular optometrist that did like an eye vision test, and no matter what lens that they used, it still wasn't clear. Like they couldn't make it a clear focus. And then another one that was, again, they were supposed to be the gateway to an ophthalmologist, and then like pretty much all of them said they didn't really know. I got a lot of different answers about what it could be, but they all kind of seemed a bit stumped. I went to go get my brain MRI. They put you in a machine where they put a cage over your face and you go in, and it's really loud. Literally sounds like machine guns going. You do have earmuffs to kind of muffle it a bit. And then they pull you out, and then they put IV contrast into your arm and then put you back in. And anyway, I was actually pretty surprised to get my MRI results almost literally right after my test was done. So with it, it didn't show MS, which I was very, very grateful for, but it did show something that I had not really ever heard of. And so with it, I kind of had to look into a bit. And it was a meningioma, which basically, well, number one, it took me a long time to be able to say correctly. Number two, basically it's a brain tumor, but most of these brain tumors are benign. There's a few that can be like a little bit more atypical where they grow a lot faster, and there's some yet that can actually be cancerous. So with it, when I found that out, I was pretty upset. I wasn't expecting that at all, and I wasn't really sure of the next steps from there. At this point, I knew that I had something in my brain. It's actually a tumor that grows in the meninges, so it's basically the materials that surround the brain. And mine is more like in the dura mater, so on the outside, kind of closer to the skull. But with it, it was kind of trying to figure out, well, what do we do next? So at that point, it took a little bit of time and work to get it through, but I got a referral to UC Davis, to the neurosurgery department, and I saw the chair of the department there, Dr. Chalet. I've never been more impressed with a surgeon. He was amazing as far as very educational, took the time to explain things to us, was patient, listened to all of our questions, and we didn't feel rushed. Honestly, I was super impressed. And he gave us a couple of different options with this. Unfortunately, he did not think it did explain my vision issues, so those are still unknown about why that's happening. But he did say, you know, that we could either operate and have it removed, or we could watch and wait and see if it's growing, or we could do radiation, but that one he really didn't recommend with my age and the fact that a lot of times they'll reoccur with that. So with options, it took a lot of deliberation for us, a lot of time to really make up our mind because it wasn't an easy decision. With it, we did kind of watch and wait a little bit, and I had another MRI within the UC Davis system themselves, and it was already showing that it was growing and growing a little bit quicker than what we expected. And so that, along with the fact that when I told him that I have had skin cancer before, I had melanoma on my cheek that was removed with a Mohs procedure a couple years ago, and a different cancer on my shoulder, but with the fact that I've had that, he was a little bit concerned that even though it's very, very rare, that if this ever does metastasize to the brain, it typically goes to the dura mater, so where it's at. So with that being the case as well, and with them not being able to tell what type of tumor it is 100% sure until they actually take it out of your skull to examine it, we decided to go ahead and plan to do a craniotomy surgery.
So we are filming this on Wednesday, January 24th. And Bree, when's your surgery?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Check-in's at 5 a.m. and the surgery time should be about 7:30 a.m. And while I know I'm in really good hands, I'm really, really nervous, and definitely never had getting brain surgery on my bucket list to do. That's for sure.
Oh, we're scared. I know Bree's way more scared than I am, but I am, yeah, obviously it's a tough time. So we'll get to the hospital tomorrow and we'll get through it.
So one of the things that we also had to consider when we were making this decision is that with most of these, some of them grow very slow or very little at all. Some of them grow quite a bit faster. And for my particular location, if it grows a lot more, he was saying that it becomes almost like a Velcro, that if it starts to cause edema within the brain tissue and a swelling, that then when you're trying to remove the tumor, it gets a lot more difficult because it's almost like Velcro, he said, to do that, to peel it off. So with it, if it continued to grow a lot bigger and started to really push a lot more in the brain, my symptoms would be right-sided body weakness, aphasia, cognitive deficits, things that I definitely don't want. So while it's not as big as, a lot of people get these diagnosed when they're massive, like the size of a baseball, and have very severe symptoms, I know that it's heading in that direction. So with it, we're trying to be proactive and just get it taken care of sooner than later. And Bella and Penny will be being taken care of. My dad, we're away. I know they'll be in really good hands, so I don't need to worry about them. And just can focus on recovery. But with it, I'm sure they'll have a good time with Grandpa, but I'll miss them because I love seeing them every day.
What did they say the recovery time was?
A couple of different varying answers. I think anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. So I'm hoping no more than 6 weeks.
Okay. And what are the biggest things that you're gonna have to be careful with?
No knocks to the head. With a craniotomy, they basically pull back part of your scalp or a large part of it, and then at UC Davis, they create a GPS locator for the tumor. So then they're able to do the most minimally invasive technique that they can as far as taking the smallest area away. They take your skull away, they take out the tumor and hopefully get really good margins. And then with it, they go ahead and replace that skull and then replace your skin flap and then sew you up. And we're expecting to be in the hospital for a couple of nights, maybe ICU tomorrow night, and in the hospital, like the regular wards, maybe another night or two. All the snow!
I know.
Where is all the snow?
It's a good time to have surgery, Bree. There's no snow to do anything fun.
I guess.
One of the other things that kind of complicated the matter was we got a message from our work last week that our current insurance that we have through our employer, that they, as of March 1st, we're going to stop covering providers and facility coverage through UC Davis, which is, of course, where we're getting this procedure done. So it is obviously a bit concerning, but obviously we're going to have this done before March 1st, but it added an unfortunate another level of stress to the situation.
Okay, go get Daddy.
The girls love her mom. And I kind of think all too often as people watch different things on YouTube that they think life is perfect for everybody, and the reality is that life is challenging. I feel like it's really, really hard at times. So anyway, we will get through this.
Alright, well, since check-in for surgery is tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., we're heading out to Sacramento tonight so that it's going to be an easier time in the morning. So we're just leaving the Myers area now, and it looks like there might be a little bit of snow at Echo Summit, but hopefully not too much, and should be smooth travels. Alright, so we've reached Echo Summit and it is still rain, no snow. This winter has been a little different than last year. A little bit of fog. About halfway there, Holly Pines. How are you doing, Dan?
Hyper-focused. Tough driving.
Yeah, it just goes in and out of fog.
It's hard to get away.
Good morning. It is, I don't have my watch on anymore, what, 4 a.m.? Check-in is at 5 a.m. today for surgery. They request that you take a shower the morning of and then have your hair dry as well. So I never blow dry my hair. So we're gonna see how long it takes.
All right, Brie, how you feeling?
To be honest, really nervous, but I think good thoughts.
You got this, Brie. I know you do.
So when I found out that I had this, I decided to name it. So, named it Melvin Norma meningioma, and it's time for Melvin to go. He's gotta go. Step one done.
And now the waiting game begins. I just wanted to say one other thing. It was really weird as Bree's husband to be the person filming and editing this for her to put together her story. It was not easy in the slightest to do it in this fashion, but yeah, I just wanted to tell her story.